This week we're focusing on comma rules. More specifically, when a comma is needed in a sentence. There will be more comma rules than what we discussed, but these are the major comma rules that get broken by most high school students. So these are the ones we're going to focus on because they're going to be the most important for the writing that you'll actually be doing. Rule number one should be a little bit of review for you. We know we connect two sentences together. We must have a comma before the fanboy. Remember our fanboys for, and, nor, but, or, yet. So we talked about this when we talked about fixing run-on, right? And you can see that in an example. Run-on errors are unnecessary, comma, and, there's my fanboy, they can be fixed with the comma. So we know that. If we have a comma between two sentences, there should be a fanboy before or after that comma. Rule number two. When creating a list, separate the items with a comma. The list makes up the whole sentence. Between the list items, I need to have a comma because I need to have a pause in between the list. Okay. So notice, I pack my sleeping bag, tent, hiking boots, and canteen when I go camping. Comma, comma, comma. All between the items of my list, so that when I pause, they don't sound like one item. After an introductory element, place a comma. Now I have a series of introductory elements that you could look for. Okay. The first one, if I'm starting my sentence with a prepositional phrase, right, without a dog, I feel lonely. Or I might start my sentence with an interjection. Hey, did you see the game last night? Or, like we've talked about, if we have one of those fragments, we can start with what we call a dependent clause, or something that we talked about usually creates a fragment. So we have, after the rain falls, the air smells fresh. Okay. Now notice the hint. If you see the words after, although, while, when, until, before, because, if, or since, and those are the very first words in the sentence, they will have a comma at some point now to follow. Okay. So those are kind of your keywords. So if any of those words listed there start a sentence, look for a comma. Okay. When you get to a pausing point, that is where the comma should go. So like in our example, after the rain falls, comma, the air smells fresh. And it's usually before the actual sentence. Right. When using an ing verb as a closer to my sentence, I'm going to place a comma between the sentence and the closer. Okay. So this is what it looks like. Sentence, comma, closer. And this closer is going to start with an ing verb. So I have the boy raced home from school, comma, running all the way. And there's my ing verb. Okay, next rule. Commas are placed before and after sentence interrupters. Okay, so here's what it looks like. My sentence would be complete, but I have an interrupter in the middle, so I have to have a comma in front of it, and I have to have a comma behind it. Okay. This is what it kind of looks like. Jim, comma, the mailman, comma, waves to everyone on his route. So here's how I know I need those commas, an interrupter. If I were to take out the mailman, and I just said Jim waves to everyone on his route, that would be a complete sentence. And it means the same thing. Okay. So that's why I know I need commas around the mailman, because it's interrupting my sentence, but it's not really changing the meaning. Right. And lastly, when we address someone in a sentence. So if you have a name or a title, and not only is it capitalized, but there should be a comma after it. Okay. If it's coming before or after the sentence. Right? So this would kind of look like name, comma, sentence, or sentence, comma, name. Right? And that's why it's important to remember this, because grammar can save lives. There's a huge difference between let's eat grandma and let's eat grandma. We don't want to eat our grandmothers, so we're going to put a comma in after eat before we address our grandma. Right? Because we want to request that she eats with us. We just don't want to eat her. Right. So those are the big common rules that you'll be responsible for this week. I do expect you to start using them in your own writing as well. And so when I'm grading your paragraphs or your other writings, I'll be looking to make sure you're following these common rules just like I do for your other grammar rules that we've been learning about all year.